Welcome back to Big Content. Today's episode, we are going to continue off of last week's episode, basically where me and Jack were setting personal goals for our TikToks in terms of growing the accounts. And last week, we filmed on, Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah.
Wednesday or Thursday, and you were at 40,000 followers. Like, I want to get to 100K by the time this episode goes live, or like midnight that night, which was like 5 days later. So that's a huge growth spurt that you would need to hit. And I, on the other side, was like, I'll be at like 46,000 where my 43 was. And only one of us hit our fucking numbers and our goals. But I actually want to break down, like, over the last 5-6 days, takeaways from that. Obviously, we were joking, you were striving for a number that was extremely difficult to hit, but there's probably a lot of like learning curves to it. And I think a part of the conversation that we had was you were pushing me to like do more in that time frame in order to like capitalize on the success you had now. And immediately after we kind of finished that conversation, I had gone through TikTok and continued to get these videos shown to me that were like a direct correlation between the conversation that we had about that. So I think at one point later on in this episode, we're going to live watch these 3 TikToks that I think really relate to the conversation we had. And then we'll kind of talk about them afterwards. I think it's a difference between the way that you and me are looking at it and look at the content that we make on our personal page. And I think there's like a lot of stuff to dive into.
Can you just preface with what the theme of the episode is, which is Nick thinks I'm a slave to the algorithm?
Well, artists can't be algorithms. It's just artistry versus algorithm. But on a real note, like you admit it, not as being a slave to the algorithm, but you're like, the way you look at being a creator is way different than I look at being a creator. Like you look at being a creator as a means to operate your business, where I'm like, it's a way that I really express myself, and like I don't care about the way things come off most of the time when I create. And a lot of these TikToks are kind of like pointing to that. And I think it's really powerful if you could like actually be aware of the way you look at it and work off of that. So let's start with the actual like results. So you went from 40-ish to...
Yeah. Well, when the first video was posted, I was at 30,000. Then it hit 7 million now. So that was like a 10K bump.
My first prediction, I was like, yeah, it's going to go over 5 mil. It was on a great
trajectory. I didn't think it was going like that. I mean, 7.2 is crazy.
Big time. Yeah.
Crazy. So 7.2, then the next 2 got like 1 million something. Then another. So then we did the top 5 in 3 segments, or top 15 in 3 segments of, I forget, food. And then we did stadiums and cities, and then fans. So that was like the 9 pieces of
content. So you had the three different subjects, and you did a top 15 countdown for all 3 of them. And then within each countdown was like 3 videos. So it was 15 to 11, 10 to 6, 5 to 1.
Yeah. And now the account's at like 80,000. Yeah. And most recently, so we were plugging that on Monday. This is 2 days later. It's grown like 500 followers over the course of the last 2 days. So growth has definitely slowed. The fan stuff did not pop off like the stadium and cities or the food rankings. So yeah.
How did it do on other platforms? So I saw you posting on Instagram.
It did very similar on Instagram per like my basis. So normally I post an Instagram reel. I've got like 130,000 on Instagram, and it will do like 20,000, like a very normal post. The first food one did 280, so it really hit the algo. 1 or 2 of them hit 50, and then the rest are basically in that normal range.
Okay, so let's talk about like the videos that you put out. Some of them had wild success. Like you said, some of them kind of like fell off. Do you have any like super clear takeaways from these videos? Maybe looking at the ones that didn't do as well, or the ones that did do as well, and you can kind of look at it and be like, I feel like I know why this one didn't hit as hard, or why this one was really successful, whether it's like the pacing, whether it's like the way you laid out the rankings or the voiceover or whatever it is. You have any like clear takeaways from it?
My gut, I don't know for a fact on any of it. I know that the food videos got a lot of engagement because they were moving, like me eating the hot dogs, a little bit aggressively. And on top of that, like unintentionally, the first 5 worst foods were like New York, LA, right? Oh. We talked about that. The stadium and city stuff, we used still images, and they still did incredibly well. Like 500,000, for that is crazy. Yeah. Then for these fan ones, we used the same stills. My gut is that people just got really tired of that same formatting. Now, I think that's more tried and true on Instagram because it really the same followers are seeing it, as opposed to TikTok where it's just being blasted into the algo. But I still think there was something to the stills plus the the formula was a little tired.
Yeah, I think like in order to have people engaged with those types of videos, it'd almost be like, oh, like Buffalo is our top 3. Like you'd have to have a video of you like going through a table or something to like keep people engaged and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, so based on these kind of learnings, or based on the success of this like mini series that like catapulted your account, one, are you looking to capitalize directly off of anything that came from it? Did you have any opportunities come your way, first of all? Secondly, like based on the findings from the series, are you going to start doing different types of content, or do you have like plans to continue doing like top 15 rankings lists, or like what are you looking for forward wise?
Yeah, so no plans, no opportunities.
No fucking DM slides.
Yeah, no DM slides. I have a fucking girlfriend of 6 years who's keeping me in New York.
TikTok don't know that.
But I think like increasing follower base is big. Now when a video flops, like the fact that it does 20,000 or 15,000, that's huge for me, because there were videos that would get 1,400, right? So you've just lifted the floor on this, and now maybe I'll think more about TikTok. But we've been doing a lot of, I mean, the offsite was huge. We had to figure out what platform we're really dedicated to. And right now at this point in time, like leaning to YouTube. So that's the platform where I'd rather go all in on as opposed to TikTok. Now, you know, you use TikTok as expression, you use it for personal use. I use it to kind of, you know, create content around the sports field. So I mean, I'll probably end up just doing YouTube and then cutting down into shorts. But I do want to test now with this audience. Do I want to like give my sports takes on there? Because that's not what people were really coming for, the last 50,000 followers, which I think we'll talk about today, which is the pain of going viral is that you're not necessarily always going to curate the audience you were looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, I mean, you said now that you're going to kind of field a lot of the questions or the comments or the engagement that you got from the series and start going back at the audience, or, you know, just giving them a little bit more insight and peel back from the curtain. I feel like that also falls into that category. It's like, yeah, they came for these lists that you made. Like, do they care about snapback? Do they care about like what you're doing as a business owner? It's the same intrinsic like conversation you're having with yourself, but you're like, I want to do this. So you don't really think twice about it. You're like, I'm going to put this type of content out, which goes back to like the idea of the theme of this episode and what it's going to probably turn into is artistry versus algorithm. And you'll see a lot of like these views and whatever. And I put out a video yesterday on our BDG account addressing like Ike's Lunch, because we get so many comments now because we stopped season 2 or we stopped season 3. And I was like, listen, we need to refocus on what actually makes our business successful, because these views from TikTok lead to some opportunities, but not opportunities that are made for sustainable business activity. And had we had that growth like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I didn't have all this responsibility, when I didn't have salaries and office rent and everything like that, I would look at it very differently, where I'm like, it's low risk in the sense of, if it doesn't work and we're not making money from it, that's fine, because I don't have expenses to do things with. So I need to, you know, reverse look at like what does make us money. If it's not this, then we need to focus on the things that do. And that was, you know, that was a thing where like we're getting an immense number of views on these things. And I'm like, I don't really care about the views. I don't really care about the algorithm. I don't really care about how it pushes out. I would legitimately rather 10,000 people that love our brand and love the content that matters for us than 600,000 followers that in the long run won't be there when Ike's Lunch dips off. You know what I mean? Right. So that was something that went through my head. For me, it wasn't a tough decision at all, because that's pretty much like the way I operate long run. But it seems like you kind of have a little bit like internal pushback on stuff like that.
No. That's 100% the right way of thinking about it. You can't monetize viewership. Like you just, I mean, you can, obviously. That's kind of like what creators do. You can't monetize like viewership that is not meaningful and that people don't actually give a shit about. Like that's, I don't know. I just feel strongly about that.
Okay. Well, I want to, let's dive into these TikTok clips. Okay. We're going to watch it real time. We'll put them up on the screen for you to watch it with.
I feel like I'm in trouble, or at least in class. Are you an artist?
I never considered myself one until I started coming across more and more of these clips, because my sister is incredibly talented artistically, but in like a drawing, painting, that kind of stuff. And I'm not that whatsoever. And I always kind of said to myself, like, I'm not an artist. She's an artist. Right. I am, I guess I don't think I still understand the difference between like an artist and a creator. You know what I mean? Like I'm a creator because I create things, kind of like I have an idea for something and then I put it into real life. But maybe that is a form of artistry. I'm not really sure.
It's artistry versus the algorithm.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be pejorative or insulting of like, if you're a vlogger, you're not an artist. No, no, no. An artist has something in their head or their heart that they gotta say and they wanna get it out. That's an artist. I have to get this out into the world. You have a short film, let's show it in the park tonight. Versus the algorithm, which means you wake up in the morning and you see a series of YouTube shorts. People with the mic like this and yellow text right here and they're yelling.
Yeah, you've seen our videos.
And it's going, you know what I mean? And they're coming for us. Who's they? Doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? Just like cut it right now and make it 30 seconds and give me big yellow font that's insulting to the audience's intelligence. But that's the algorithm. You're servicing an algorithm.
Looking for what works.
Yeah. You start doing that, you'll be refining crude oil for YouTube, Meta, and Twitter. You're just a guinea pig, and you're spending your days being like, how do I please this engineer in San Bruno? You're a fucking
you're right.
skinned rat for some Desi engineer in Mountain View. And I'm like, I refuse to live my life like this.
Okay, all right, wait, we got to respond to that one.
Hold on.
Well, it's top of mind. I've seen Reed. Let's respond to that first. Let's go individually.
Well, the only reason I was going to do this is because this is directly off of like that. It's 20 seconds. Yeah.
The creators that can get you to watch a video that's not fast-paced are the ones that actually grow the biggest communities. The ones that it's like crackhead edit, everything's changing every half of a second. It's easier to consume, but you don't build that like authenticity and that like connection to your audience when you edit like that.
Okay.
All right.
So those are
so I actually think they're making two different points there, because I disagree with Hassan.
Okay.
I disagree because
you know why? Because he's talking to you.
No. Because I think what he's talking about isn't accurate. I think that successful content is an idea, and that might be an artist has an idea and they want to put it that way. But I think that playing the algorithm and playing the platform and having an understanding of it is so vital in the process. Like Mr. Beast, right? He has the idea. He's a genius when it comes to that. But how much does he obsess over YouTube and the platform? So I think that is wrong. When you go to Reed's point, which ironically is Mr. Beast, I agree with. Because if you're just forcing like algorithmic, quick, fast-paced like dopamine hits, then yes, you will not create an audience. Now, what Mr. Beast does, he plays the algorithm, he plays the platform, but he does it in a long-form manner.
So I would agree in a sense. I guess my question for Mr. Beast would be like, I wonder if he considers himself an artist. I bet he would say no.
I think he would.
Because because Hassan is saying, he's not saying like you can't be a good creator. Mm-hmm. It's not like you have to choose between being a good creator and being an artist. I think he's really getting down to the niche of like what an artist is. And there are just not many people that are artists. And I think there are creators who are gifted at understanding the platforms. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I guess like the more I watch that clip, the more I'm like, maybe I do fall into that like former category where like I don't really necessarily care much about understanding the platforms as much as I thought I do. And when I have an idea for a piece of content that's like really true to like me, I just want to make it and get it out into the world, because again, it's a way for me to express myself. It's a way for me to get things off of my chest, and I relate to that. And I don't care about how it does on YouTube for the most part.
See, that's where it's interesting. When you say you don't care, how could you not care? Your entire
It's not
business.
my priority. It's not my priority to make it. The content itself is priority number one is me sharing it. Priority number two is making sure that the most number of people can share it, because hopefully it helps them.
Which is fine, and maybe that makes you an artist, but it also makes you inefficient. Like if you,
but I don't care.
That's fine. And I'm saying that I think what makes a special creator is the one who doesn't have to sell themselves short, but also understands platform. Like Mr. Beast's videos, maybe Mr. Beast's videos are everything he wants, and he doesn't have to play the audience a certain way. But what if his thumbnail was clickbaity, because that's what hits the algorithm? Like that's playing both sides.
You're saying, what if Mr. Beast's thumbnail was clickbaity?
Right? Like he's like, I know what will get people to click in, but I'm only doing this so that people watch my masterpiece, which is this video.
What's the question? Because I don't think he does that.
I'm saying, would that, like, is it a bad thing if he did it that way?
I think so.
Why?
Because it's bad intention.
Is it?
If you are making a piece,
you're playing the
that's
game,
clickbaity.
Yeah.
If you're making a thumbnail that's clickbaity that doesn't actually have relevance to your video, yeah, I think it's.
But if the intention is he knows the only way to get people to watch what is his masterpiece and his piece of art, why does it matter?
Again, it's bad intention, because if you can make something that is relevant to that's good.
But not if you're not matching the algorithm. If you're not feeding something that is better for
Right, but you could feed it on any topic.
But I'm saying, okay, if Mr. Beast just posted a thumbnail of a guy's face that was in the video, less people would watch the video, even though it's the same type of content. But instead, he creates these fun, clickable, high click-through rate thumbnails to entice people to watch the video.
But they're relevant to the video. They put his face because he's the most relevant person in there.
Right. But I'm saying...
I'm not sure I understand.
He still plays the platform and the algorithm.
Sure, and I'm not saying that Mr. Beast is what he's talking about. This is why I'm saying, like, the question would be to Mr. Beast, I wonder when he watches that clip, what side he resonates with more.
Okay.
I'm just saying this clip resonated with me because the conversation we had was almost a direct thing where you're like, go for it. And I'm like, I don't want to do it because like I put those videos out when I feel like it, when the inspiration hits me. And when I do, I'm like, damn, I can't wait to get this out now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I don't care about the time of the day. I don't care about what day of the week.
My point would be when we're making recommendations or talking to people who want to be creators, I don't think that that's the best way to go about it. Like I do think
probably not. I just thought it was an interesting conversation because it's relevant to the way we were
very.
Okay. But I don't know if I would recommend or not recommend it because I kind of think I felt and operated the same way even when I started all the way back in the day. I think a lot of it still comes down to like you still have to make a good piece of content. Like the work ethic has to be there. Just because you're like, oh, I'm an artist, like I'm just going to post once a month. Like that's obviously not going to work. You are, yes, going into a little bit more of the algorithmic realm of things. But I think each person has a very, very clear balance of who they are. And I think you and me are.
Yeah, if you know your North Star, then you're good.
I think the ultimate takeaway here is like be aware of which side of that you're on and then play that strength.
Yep.
And don't like judge yourself no matter where you fall on the spectrum. If you're 90% artist, 10% algorithm, 90% algorithm, 10% artist, like there's no wrong or right. There's just knowing what you are and knowing how you operate best.
I do agree with Reed's point, which is if you are 90% algorithm, then you will not grow an audience. No one will care about you. They'll only care about your content, and you'll become replaceable very quickly.
Yeah. This last one was just Rick Rubin, obviously like legendary music producer, but we don't actually have to watch it. Like 2 minutes. He was kind of just going about the point where like, man, I've made smash hits with like these artists, and then I'll have like 3 songs lined up where I think one's going to be amazing. I think all 3 of them are like life-changing things. 2 of them just absolutely flop for no reason. He kind of just goes around the point of like, as the creator, all you can do is create your best work, put it out there, and you can't really like control the market or dictate how well something does on like this platform or that platform. And again, kind of just like thought it fit into the mold here of I guess the way that I look at a lot of things.
Did we talk about last episode Omar Raja's conversation with Gary Vee and how repurposing or changing around content? Because I rewatched that.
We had spoken about it. I don't remember if we put it on camera.
I don't think we put it on. It might be worth or just like a mention of it.
Yeah, I'll have Tony put it in.
Yeah, so Omar talked with Gary Vee. He created House of Highlights, now runs SportsCenter. They're talking about how do you know what's going to perform, and then his own content, right? You said, like, he posted about House of Highlights. It got 1,000 views, posted about 2,000, kept changing, hooks, et cetera, et cetera. And the takeaway was, like, if you know you have a great piece of content, then don't just give up on it because the algorithm decides that it was bad that time.
Yeah, that's kind of where sometimes I have a tough like internal battle where I'm like, man, this shit was like really personal for me, and I feel like it would resonate with a lot of people, and it doesn't hit. But TikTok is like one of the few, maybe the only platform that I would feel semi-comfortable posting it multiple times. Like I would never like take down a YouTube video after 3 days, be like cut out the middle portion of it, then repost it. For me, that's just, it'll never happen. This is not what I'm gonna do there. But TikTok, feel a little bit more native.
Why wouldn't we though? I agree with you. I'm with you, but like, why wouldn't we?
I think one of the things is like you're so attached to the minimal engagement that you've got up to that point that you're like, what if it gets worse than this? You know what I mean?
Which it could.
Yeah, it definitely could.
But then couldn't it? I guess because when you're posting, when a movie is created, right? Like it's watched down 400 times. They get feedback, test groups, etc.
Right, but it doesn't go like public. It's almost like if
but we don't get that opportunity. And the only way to get like that test group is based off what YouTube kind of feeds you.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting...
It is. I also think like the reason that TikTok feels more comfortable, or I would feel more comfortable doing it, is because like I think YouTube has a range of outcomes for the video based on like your subscriber follower count to begin with, right? Like if I reposted a video that
But it doesn't.
It does relative to TikTok. Like how his video can go from 1,000 views, 2,000 views to 9 million.
Right.
That's 99.999% of the time not going to happen on YouTube. Bro, it's just not. It's just
because no one does it like that. No one thinks about YouTube as a viral platform. But people can do it if you did it correctly.
But if you had 100 subscribers on YouTube, your video is not going to go from 1,000 to 9 million. It's just not going to happen.
If you made the right piece of content.
Yeah, I just don't think it would.
But there's people who do.
But by tweaking like minimal things, I just don't think it's going to work that way.
By
TikTok,
tweaking minimal, yes.
Yeah. Like taking a video that goes 10 minutes down to like 8 minutes, it's not going to go from 1,000 to 9 million.
No.
Making a completely new video, yeah, sure, because that's that's a different piece of content. But on TikTok, that can happen.
Yeah.
So I think about it, I'm like, man, if I really, really like a piece of content that I made, maybe I would fuck around. So I did that once on BDGs, and it was Stevie One Chains Around the Block. I think he's one of the funniest people we've ever had associated with our brand. And I'm like, I don't understand. It wasn't hitting on TikTok. Yeah. And I think some of it might have been the first couple times we posted it, the intro was like 15 seconds long. And it was like, hey, I'm Stevie One Chains, and we're going to be doing Around the Block, a new series. Today we're starting off. And I'm like, we can't start there. Right. Let's cut that and redo it. And minded, this was like 8 months apart because he hadn't done one in a while. So I was like, send me the old ones. I want to re-fuck with it a little bit. So I redid it, posted it again. The engagement was much better. Like the comments were higher and like, yo, this is awesome or whatever. But in terms of views, which I know is a vanity metric and I shouldn't be based off that, it's still like kind of flopped a little bit. And I think two things. One, it was not native to our content whatsoever. But two, One Chains has been on Ike's Lunch before, and for whatever reason, the audience like just did not like him. So I think they saw him, they're like, "Fuck One Chains. He's not built for the camera." I'm like, he's hilarious. None of you guys have developed brains, so you can't like understand his fucking quick, witty humor. Anyways, I took it personally. You know what I mean? That's why I can't fucking do these things. Right. Even when I think other people's content is good, like One Chains, I'm like, I love this shit. Like I would love this to be associated with our brand. You know? For me personally, I don't know. I still feel like kind of weird doing it for my own content.
All right, so let's go to your TikTok. So yesterday I tweeted out, when was the last time you exerted 100% of your energy, and then Nick canceled our podcast recording because he was in deep thought. So
I was in deep work last night.
What did you get to? Was it about TikTok?
No, nothing to do with TikTok. It was more like business focused. Gotcha. There was just a few things I had to wrap up, talking to some people that I think are going to help us content-wise in the future, and then we start on one of our off-season products. So I was like trying to dive in a little bit and organize the roadmap for that. And that's been something that's a little bit difficult for me too, because we talked early on, and I'm like, I get into deep work sometimes, and that's like so crucial for me to be able to run this successfully. But with being the person in here that like does the accounting, taxes, like, or at least deals with the person that does, like those calls just randomly pop in, like, 30 minutes here, 11 a.m. on a Saturday, or a Thursday or whatever. If I'm like in the middle of some deep work from like 10 to noon or whatever, that kind of like fucks up my day. It kills my entire day. And I'm like, you got another 5 hours afterwards. I'm like, like that kind of intensity you can't just like put it onto command.
No.
Yeah. So that's kind of what happened yesterday when I canceled.
When I walked in, Ike was like, why are you in a bad mood? And I was like, well, I had a great day of work planned today, and then something got sprung on my plate that completely disrupted it. And now it's like, all right, I'm going to have a good day, but like I wanted to go to that place. I want to knock some things out. Yeah,
we just got a comment, or I just got a personal comment on TikTok. It was on one of your TikToks, but he tagged me. He said, holy shit, you are crushing Nick in the following race. Sir, we had different goals. I completed mine.
Well, you did get offered a bag, right?
Oh, yeah, we can talk about that. So Brook Lennon reached out to me as they were doing.
Whoa. Are you doing the deal?
No.
And you're just going to give them free pub?
Stop. I'm in deep work. I'm in deep thought right now. So Brook Lennon reached out. They do like a massive campaign with like New York City people that do content around here. So they reached out, and then I reached out to you. And honestly, when I sent that to you, I wasn't actually asking for advice on it. It was more of like a flex. It was more like, motherfucker, like Brook Lennon's in my DMs, and you came back with a voice message like, this is what you should be doing. I was like, okay, I appreciate that, but also fuck you. So they reached out.
Yeah, I was flexing back like, first brand deal.
Yeah, first brand deal. That should be a minimum of $8,000. So I went back to them with an insane offer because, to be honest with you, I don't want to monetize my personal thing yet. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to shoot a crazy number, And if they accept, I'll do it. If not, like I'm not going to go below that just for the sake of doing a sponsored
All
ad.
right, well, you have to say the number.
I will. I'm giving context behind it. So I shot them $3,000 as the price for the video.
I sent you a higher number.
You said 5, and they came back saying we have a budget of $800.
Okay,
Take it or leave it.
No, but you got to start at 5. Know your worth. And
I only have 49,000 followers.
It doesn't matter. It's the fact that you're hitting the right audience. You're hitting the right target. Dude, they spent $5,000 on fucking a billboard on the side of New Jersey. But my point was, you said you don't want to monetize unless it was at this price. I actually thought you were on such a roll on TikTok, and the way you could have built audience, and the beginning of Lex Friedman's podcast with Mr. Beast was, if you talked about how this was going to cover a month of rent in New York, it wouldn't even be selling them. It would integrate so easily. So that's why I was like,
that's a good idea. Actually, remember that. Honestly.
Well, if you saved the voice note, it was in there.
I remember you saying something, and I was like, I'm probably not doing this deal anyway, so I'm not going to remember actual pieces of content.
No, that's how I would have approached it, because we have this, mentality. Don't monetize for 12, 18, 24 months. This would be more in a funny, fits the content type of way.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, they sent me that offer, and I also sent them BDG, and I was like, also we have YouTube and TikTok content if you're interested in that, and they were just like, nah, we'd rather do your personal. I was like, fuck you. What's the price? They said the price. Haven't responded back, but they followed up yesterday, so I got to get back to them. So I'm probably just gonna leave. They were gonna send over $300 worth of new bedding and sheets and stuff. Which was
what's the thread count?
It's everything from Brook Lennon is actually pretty fucking high quality. So that almost pulled me in. Which doesn't make sense because it's still the same value of whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to reach back out to them. That was the first brand deal. I have had the New York Instagram account that posted my first one that has 300, 400,000 on IG now. They came back and they're like, yo, can we post the second one? And I'm like, dude, fucking run them all up.
Yeah.
And then this other place called Open Igloo. They're blue check verified. I think they do a lot of real estate stuff. They're like, we loved your apartment tour. Can we post it on ours? And I was like, fucking yeah, let's go. I love this content. Throw it out there. Those are pieces of content that I love.
But this is my point. You want your content out there. So
I would allow all of them to use it, yes.
But I'm saying, you are saying you take an idea and then you want to express it. But it's also just not maybe as important, but it's important to you that people then see it. You don't want to just scream it into a void, which is why I'm saying then optimizing it for the algorithm isn't selling yourself short.
No, it's not selling yourself short. I just think there are people who think algorithm down rather than artistry down. And that is a mindset that I'm not saying I disagree with or it's right or wrong. It's just I cannot relate to.
But you can still think artistry down then. So here's my idea. Here's how I want to express it. Then here's how I optimize it for the algorithm.
Yeah.
And you do.
And I probably
here's
leave
my
on
idea,
the table by doing that.
And you say, fuck the algorithm.
Fuck it.
And all I'm saying is don't do that.
Best way to make money is by not making money, by not trying to make money.
That is true. That is true.
That's how the people want you. Leave them on red. You always leave them on red. That's a rule that works across the line in fucking life. I was good at. I don't think I have anything left on the sheet.
What did you learn from Mr. Beast podcast with Lex Friedman? I got through the first 20 minutes on my way here.
I'm gonna have to go back and not re-listen to it, but kind of skip through parts and stuff because I was trying to take notes because I want to make a TikTok biggest takeaways from it. One of the things that I thought was interesting that I feel was super relatable to me and us as a brand, he was talking about experimental content. When he's like, you should be experimenting at all times, but it's most important to be experimenting when you are hitting, if you do capture a moment of virality, if you do capture a moment of XYZ, that's the most important time to do it because you will have areas where you do really well and then a bunch of videos in a row flop. But if you wait until you flatline, then experimenting, most of the time experiments don't work, right? So you need to be experimenting while you're doing good work so that when that good work stops working, then you have that experimental thing that did work again to keep the the lines in check, whatever. But he was saying if you wait until you flatline to start experimenting, you're exponentially decreasing your chances of success because most of those won't hit. So you will continue compounding on negative pieces of content. And it makes me think about one of the reasons we stopped songs because I thought we got complacent with the creativity of our content, right? And it's we weren't experimenting when those things were doing. We have other pieces. I won't say we weren't experimenting at all, but not to the level of if that didn't hit, we would be doing so much more from an experimental standpoint. And that was one of the things I was yeah, we should have been trying to secondary virality kind of like shows and pieces of content, which I feel like we didn't do. And now I'm like, as it was declining, it's like now we need to start experimenting, like build ourselves back up through the brand that we've actually built. So that was one of the stronger takeaways I thought was like, anytime you hit some level of success, like hop on that, but with like a different angle.
As we're making a lot of these moves for the business and talking about hiring a content creator, talent, hiring more video editors, I'm just like, yo, just fucking create. Like, if I could get out 1,000 pieces of content a day, like, I think I would want that. Like, it just everything needs to just get out there and be out there. Because if someone doesn't watch it, someone else does. And
look at the artist in you coming out.
No,
right
it
took you 37 minutes and 35 seconds to finally be emotional.
But I can't get
emotional towards your art and your craft.
I don't know what mine is. That's my thing. You seem to know what you want. I don't know what I want.
I know what makes me tear.
Yeah.
I know what it does. Well, I mean, you won't fucking figure it out unless you keep experimenting.
Yeah.
That's it right there. And I think you should continue to, like the first thing you said when you sat down, like, I'm a sports creator. I'm not going to do this NYC apartment thing. I'm not going to do this.
No.
I think when you start diving into the Q&A type stuff, you will start learning more things about yourself.
No. I definitely have learned, like, I think I can add value to people's lives. I hope I'm relatable to a degree. But I do that on, like, Instagram, but I haven't done it on TikTok. Can I mesh those on one TikTok platform? I would say no, unless you're beholden to the algorithm.
Exactly. Yeah. Which I challenge you to, like, meet me halfway in the artist algorithm.
But you wouldn't take BDG's YouTube and start posting apartment tours.
I mean, like, we vlog. Yeah,
right. Vlog.
That's exactly what we fucking do.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Long-term thinking.
Mm-hmm. Always.
Yeah. What's your prediction for where your TikTok's at next week?
A week from now?
Yeah.
It's been sitting right there for like an hour. It's at 49.9.
Also, I have the advantage because I'm verified.
It gives me an advantage. People like the grit.
Do that? It's funny. I looked up at Nicola. I forget why I looked up your name. It wasn't to go to your profile.
It's an account I made like 5 years ago. Is that what you're going to say?
No, but I found people hating on you for the NYPD stuff. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, like I'm telling, like that was why I think that one fell off. I have people tagging me to this day. They'll like, it'll be like a video like.
Nah, people are like, he really tried to sneak this one in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, just look at the comments.
Always back in the blue or something.
Oh, well, I thought you were going to say, like, if you look up my name, there's a profile that I made back in, like, 2018 or something, and there's one video on it, and we were at my friend's house. It was, like, New Year's Eve, I think, and he had a wheelchair at his house for whatever reason, and one of my friends sat in the wheelchair, and my other friends pushed him, and he just pushed him down the stairs, like, stairs.
Really?
It was only, like, 3 stairs. But
Did it go viral?
No, not at all. Probably, like, 200 views on it right now. But it should have went viral. I should repost that, honestly, on my personal. We're at 50 right now. Maybe 50 fucking.
I mean, what's your plan? Are you gonna keep hammering content or no?
So something that I've found that I like to do that's helped me with this a little bit is like, as I see, so if I make one of those videos and it gets 1 million views or whatever, there's a lot of comments that I'm like, oh, I should reply to that or should reply to that, but then like I either forget or I can't find it. So what I'll do is I'll immediately hit like reply to it, and then I'll do a video that's like 2 seconds. Save it in the draft, so I'm like, oh, there's the comment, so I could just rip a video off like that. So there's a comment that was like,
holy shit,
but what's
I
good
couldn't
about
think about how to do that.
But what's good about NYC?
Yeah.
So there's like, okay, 5 things, like, I come off angry with my videos, but here's 5 things I love about NYC. Right. So I have these videos saved up so that when inspiration does hit, I'm like,
and you can just delete what you'd recorded, but it keeps the comment.
Yep. Okay. Well, you could just go like, this card edits, and then just hit the X, so it starts over from 0, and then you could just use that comment still on the screen. Because I don't know why TikTok doesn't have like a bookmark comment feature, but that's the workaround that I found for it. Okay. I'll go like 53.7.
Okay. I don't have a prediction.
All right. Yeah, we're out of here. Subscribe, thumbs up, all that bullshit. Algorithm boosts. Comment for the algo. Jack would love that. Welcome, Bike, to Big. I'm actually
doing ASMR into the mic.
I dated a girl like 2 years ago that was so into ASMR and like kind of got me into it. Like we'd actually just like watch it sometimes like before we went to sleep. It was awesome, dude. It was so fucking relaxing. It wasn't like anything weird. People just, people did weird.
Have
shit.
you seen ASMR on TikTok?
Like not a lot of it.
Like e-cam girls were like go live on TikTok, and it's like,
Yeah, no, that wasn't what we were watching.
And they're like ringing little bells.
I mean, yeah, some of them get like fucking weird. Some there's people that do like guy barbers who like give haircuts and like they'll do an ASMR with that. I'm like, it's pretty fucking cool actually.
That actually sounds nice.
It's pretty sweet. Yeah, and like the scissors cutting and stuff. Yeah,
And
it's
like
nice.
spray bottle.
I'm telling you, it's slept on. It's not even slept on. It's a really popular like internet topic. You know? It's cliche for a reason. It's just the goat.